Hello, hello, hello. Cool. Nice. Okay. Invite Frank.
Because we
All right.
truly
So here we go with the third of my inspired and inspiring people in my life. This is a great friend of mine, Franklin Terrell. He's one of my 3 or 4 father figures that I adopted. We did it in reverse. I get to choose who my parent figures are, and this is one of them, Franklin Terrell. First, so he's got a great and interesting career as landscaper, coach, Marine, adventurer, all kinds of fun stuff. And he's one of the people I look to for advice and inspiration when I'm feeling down or even when I'm feeling great. So we'll start with the little quote Frank read, and then we're going to talk about some books he's thinking of writing and anything else that comes up.
Since we talked yesterday, this has truly been an interesting potential opportunity, and I really believe that if we stay the course, that perhaps not only you and I will prosper from what we've talked about over these 40 plus years we've been friends, but I would think that there may be some nuggets that can help some other people to help them through whatever challenges or decisions they're making. With all the credits that I have, I guess, associated with me, the one that I put the most access on or value on is my ability to survive.
Yeah.
And because I don't like saying this, but the reality of it is, in the way the world runs, in many circles, I might be considered a functional illiterate. Oh, I never will forget a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Cheeks, said, "Why would you say something like that?" Because I've not read the average amount of books that the average citizen has read. Most of what I've done in my life is just based on my natural instinct, my innate instincts to move from one situation to the other, unscripted. And here I sit here at 74 years of age. I've traveled the world. We are friends, and I've got other friends that are a lot more have a lot more education and intellectual than I, but yet we still are able to share our lives together. And so that's kind of the long and short of who I am. That being said, you and I have talked about there's several stories that I've had in my head over the last 50, 60 years that pretty much based on my life experiences that I want to put down, that I think, again, like I was saying about just you and I talking, how potentially I don't think anyone would like to think the whole life doesn't have anything that could be of value to someone else, but I think you and I could do that. And the apple pie, which is my call sign there, is that was adopted through some artwork that I was doing, and with our plan on marketing a new apple pie adventure of my life adventures and creations and survival skills and so forth, so on. How does that sound to you, my friend?
That sounds great. And I love the idea of apple pie with the PI as in 3.14. And when you talk about a functional illiterate, I'm like, first of all, I love always a surprise with you and me. And now I'm thinking we should just do a Sunday Facebook Live every Sunday. But it made me think of my stepfather, Cat Sosi, who is not a great reader either. And he got to be friends with this guy, and he claimed the guy owned Waste Management. And I don't know if he's it, but this guy was a millionaire and he could not read or write. I can't remember his name. I'll have to call him and ask. But yeah, so what is a functional illiterate? It means the written word means less to you than other things, right? And so here's people who have done incredible things in their lives and would just, and there's that self-confidence you have of just saying, yeah, I have I'm a functional literate. I don't need to pretend or hide anything. Here I am. Here I am.
You know, when I was able to verbalize it, that was like a great relief on me
Oh yeah.
because I think we as human beings, we in getting to know who we are, um, we tend to have masses or we hide behind um, titles and uh, communities or tribes and religious groups. I mean, all these different groups, and very few of us ever know who we are. I remember I was 12 years old when I first realized that some of the things that some of my peers were doing were not things that agreed with who I was. And I came up with, this is 12 years old and was beginning of, I think, my enlightenment. And the statement that has stuck with me since 12, again, like I said, I'm 74 now. And the statement was, the greatest battle fought amongst man is the battle to remain oneself.
Ah, yeah.
12 years old, and that's been me. And here I am, 74. I'm just beginning to know who I am,
Yeah. Wow.
and I love it. And even you were talking about email literacy. One of the few books that I did read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe it was in that book when talked about Thomas Edison, or was it Alexander Graham Bell? One of the two.
Uh-huh.
Whose mother got a note home from the school teacher, and it's because the student brought the note home to the mom. And the mom read the note. The kid couldn't read the note, so the kid asked the mom, "What did the note say?" And I think it was Edison. And she said, "Well, the note said, son, you're just too smart for the rest of the class, and the teacher said I should just keep you home and never send you back to school." But the note really had said that the kid was just wasn't able to learn.
Yeah.
And because historically we found out, here it is, by his mother not telling him exactly what the note said and changed that, the kid bought into, like, I'm just so smart, I could do anything.
Right.
And I'm kind of one of them guys. I mean, I've built things, I've designed things, artwork, I've gone places, I've been in the company of some of the most wealthiest people on the planet. On Facebook the other day, there was a question there about who was the most famous person you ever met. And I want to give Oprah Winfrey that credit. Oprah used to be a neighbor of mine in Maryland before she became this mega star, but she was still in the industry, working in Baltimore. And she and I met on two separate occasions. But since then, I'm very happy for her success. But I was just talking to a friend of mine today, early this morning, who we were really close back in the early 70s, who when our relationship stopped, she went off to school where she got a pharmaceutical license, then she went back to school, and she got a PhD in internal medicine, then she went back to school, got an MBA, and this person I cherish, like, I mean, a gold. And so for all this person, this particular person is probably more successful to me because I know where she came from as opposed to knowing about Oprah. So I've got a whole long list. You one of them. I mean, I think of you, man, and even what I know about your background and your mom and your her family history, and here you and I are talking. One would think traditionally, with what I bring to any relationship and what I get out of a relationship, especially like with yours, you and I probably shouldn't even be talking. I mean, I said be friends. Not so much should be talk. We should not have had an ongoing friendship, a mutual respect for one another for the last 40 years. Yeah. And you and I have shared some really, really intimate things that's going on in our personal families and our lives.
Yeah.
And we've maintained a mutual respect for one another. And we all have chapters that we wish weren't there, but that becomes a part of our history.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. Talking about everything.
Yeah. Open book.
Yep. Well, and it's funny when you talk about that, the idea that one thing that holds us back, because while you were talking, I was thinking, oh yeah, we have fear-based thinking is binary, right? And so we have a true story going on that if you succeed in school, you're more likely to succeed in life. And we always forget that. So then the story becomes, oh, if you don't succeed in school, you should just give up hope. And so then people who don't do well in school are trying to tear down school. They're like, you shouldn't succeed in school because it's bad for you. And so, oh, no, school is one avenue to whatever we call to a life that you feel satisfied with. And my stepdad and you and several other people didn't go that route, went a whole new route. And you look back on your 74 years and like, yeah, this is a successful life. And so I think part of maybe some of your books deal with that of what is success and how do you just get up again, and don't believe the story if somebody tells you you're perfect, because then you quit trying, or if somebody tells you you're not good enough, you quit trying. How do you just get up every day and say, wow, what do I want to try to achieve today? And I was talking with Soren, my son. He's like, would you support me if I told you I was going to be a NFL receiver? And I said, heck yeah, man. And he's like, oh, good. And he was a little surprised because I'm very anti the celebration of competition ends up with war. So I'm anti that. And I'm like, but the what is the word I'm looking for? The ceremony of competition helps us deal with our competitive instincts. And what I said to him, and he's very quick, right? I said, yeah, as long as you're getting up every day and thinking, what am I doing towards this goal? And do something. Like what did you say to me yesterday? You heard that saying, when you wake up, get up. When you get up, do something.
Yes.
It don't matter if he gets to be an NFL wide receiver. The fact is, if he gets to he has that
street sweeper or street sweeper. Yeah.
Right. Well, and he's like, oh yeah, shoot for the stars, get to the moon. I'm like, yeah. But he'll have that habit of getting up, doing something important to him every day. So that's what you brought up for me just now. And don't let the world box us into, it's funny because my friend Sparky always talks about the gifted kids in school are the ones that she would get at the remedial program in high school, because they would be like, oh, I'm gifted. And in their mind, somehow that turned into, I don't have to work. So then they didn't have the work habits.
It's interesting you talk about that. The first person in the neighborhood I grew up in Maryland that I knew was sincerely classified as a genius. This young man died in his early 20s from being an intravenous drug user. But he was a genius. I mean, he was surprised that he would come into a little hangout that we had on Monday morning. He could recite the statistics of every professional sports team, all the statistics. It's off the top of his head. And it seems like a waste in part, but I won't say it's a waste because his life has helped me to be a better me.
Right.
It's so easy to accept our limitations. I've just never been a person that's ever really bought into my limitations. Okay, so this is what I want to do, whether it's driving across country by myself, coming to New Mexico where we met, didn't know a soul.
Right.
And you and I know Santa Fe was very, very good to me. And in hindsight, I only see now some of the opportunities that I did not take advantage of in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
But I still learned from them, even though I didn't take advantage of them, but I learned from them. I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, well, if I did this, if I did that. Okay, so now you realize that if my friend, I talk about John McHugh there, who was an architect. And this man basically at the time didn't even realize he hit with only some drafting skills and some construction skills was really kind of, he never said it specifically, but I look in hindsight, he was basically auditioning me to possibly come into his architectural firm and start as an apprentice. But I didn't see it in that moment.
Right.
But I'm still as proud and as flattered now, some 30 years later, that there was an opportunity, and I see it now. Right. So sometimes it's even better. I mean, the lesson in a lot of this stuff, Jaime, for us is not necessarily in the moment. It's for future reference. Even
Right.
like all the books, I think about the story of Fred talking about you reading 8,000 books in the or and 5,000 books in the eighth grade. Wow, man, it blows my mind to think that you did that then, and you're still reading and you're still learning. And I think that we all have to just stay empty. As long as we stay empty, we keep growing.
Right. Don't think you're full. Right. That's funny you say that, because I've been talking to people a lot about mental, emotional, physical fitness are the same. So the more you learn, the more you can learn. And it hurts to learn. If you don't learn for a long time, it feels just like if you just sit on your couch for a long time and try to go for a run. It causes a physical sensation of pain in your brain. And the brain's electric, right? So the electric responses to trying to learn something that you have know nothing about is the same as trying to go for a run when you haven't run in 10 years. So yeah, the fact that
Yeah,
I was addicted to reading in that way made it so that new ideas come in faster and better than if I hadn't done that.
it's interesting you say that. 'Cause, in one's head and in one's mind, I think about when I was a sprinter in high school, how that was like. I mean, matter of fact, I've got some high school friends now that's trying to court me into coming to a 55-year class reunion. Um, that's yet to be seen. If they do a Zoom, I'll do that, but I don't think I'm going out to see them. But
Come on, man.
no, I tell you why I don't want to do that. Again, some of the few books I've read, I think one Zig Ziglar, it was Dennis Wheatley, I believe, was talking about you should never go to class reunions. He said, because when you go to class, it's one of the most depressing times you ever had, because that really beautiful blonde with the nice body, you don't have that anymore. And the guys, are fat, the bald head, and all. It's better to remember people the way they used to be than to put yourself, because you go there looking to catch up on it. I mean, life is what it is. It evolves for us all. And I'm just happy that here, a part of the conversation I was having with my friend in Chicago today, I had an older brother who was 5 years older than me, had a younger brother 5 years younger than me.
Right.
And neither one of them saw 60. I'm 74.
Yeah.
And in the world's eyes, they say, well, I mean, you were lucky, but I don't consider it luck. Where I've incorporated in my life, I think, again, going back, you said when you wake up, get up. I think every morning I wake up almost like Christmas morning. Okay,
Right.
God, Creator, what do you have me today? What and in saying I've learned, it doesn't necessarily mean something big. It may mean just cleaning off my office desk, or going back to some correspondence, or touching bases on something small.
Yeah.
But those little small things get us up off the couch, because I can't run and sprints and hurdles like I did in high school.
Well,
in my mind, I can.
Totally.
In reality, I can't.
All right.
So I think we need to accept where we are, because where we are is where we are.
Well, and you can't change the reality without being at that moment in the reality, right? We have this so we like to have, humans love bumper stickers, and I use that as the phrase, right? So now we have this thing called toxic positivity, or spiritual bypass, where we pretend we're not where we're at. So I'm still angry with my family. When I try to pretend I'm not, it makes it worse. And now, on the other hand, if I think, well, I'm justified in being angry, that makes it worse. So it's somehow that being, I'm still really upset about losing my home and my business, Oh, okay. Then we can shift things little by little. But I do want to get to these books before we run out of time today. If you, or do you want to just continue philosophy?
Well, since you put it up, I'll state what my goal here. Again, I was talking to my friend this morning about this. I've got 5 books that are in my head. I've got them. I know the whole story. They've been there. My goal is to write them all and have them all published simultaneously.
Yeah.
And I was told that would never happen. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it to make money. But I think it's first of all, I understand marketing too. I think it would be a great plus to my marketing. All the stories on one level or the other, whether it's through my dreaming about the possibilities. The first book that I want to write about is the first trillionaire. I would love to be him. Who wouldn't? I mean, I would think. The second book is called Dash. And Dash, when you go to a cemetery and you see a headstone, there's a line between the that's what I want to talk about, the meaning and the value of the lifeline.
That little dash between life and death. Yeah.
Yep. And the third book is called the Pierce, oh my, I can't even say it. Well, it's maybe before reading, I'm not. Anyway, it's talking about a guy who spends several years in prison.
Right.
And the warden of the prison is his biological father. But he's innocent. He knows the warden is his biological father, but the father doesn't know it's him. And again, the name of the book is called The Purest Son. So I guess I need to get that first one on my mind.
Got it. All right.
It's interesting how this mind works. So I'm getting that background. So whenever the warden wants to exercise his power and authority over the other inmates, this is the person he takes it out on. And this guy, but he winds up getting out of prison. And I won't go into that. And the fourth book is called Find a Prayer. Now, Find a Prayer is linked to The Purest Son, but we'll share that in the future. The fifth book, I'm not revealing right now because this kind of brings everything together. All right. So at some point through these conversations, and I'm hoping in writing these books, I would love to have several people write this. I don't know how many, we've heard people that have co-written books. I've never heard of a community or a tribe writing a book. Oh, and I would love to do it that way, mainly because a lot of what you do and what's being factored into these books are human traits, human personalities, and why they become the person they have. The warden in the prison he was born in one race, and his mother married outside the race he's born in, and his mother wound up marrying his father's best friend, and so he's got a lot of baggage that he brought into his position, although he was a smart guy. Yeah. And so here is a guy who graduated from Harvard University and hit a law school, and the best he could do end up not diminishing the value of a prison warden, but this guy should have been practicing some law somewhere else in politics, something. But he's a warden in a prison, and just so happens it's a prison where his son came to be into federal prison. So a part of this, I really have that your experience, your lessons you've learned and through your studies and through life. And I've got a couple other people that I would like to pull into this. I've got a young man who's now very, very, very successful, who lives in Silicon Valley. I met him some 17, 18 years ago while I was still in high school. Today, he's a very, very successful guy. He left a little town here in West Virginia, went to Syracuse, Syracuse, I think it was Syracuse, and to a lot of my encouragement. He graduated magna cum laude from Syracuse. He became Morgan Stanley, had over 2,500 people applying for a job. There were only 2 jobs. He got the #1 job coming out of high school. Now, like I said, he lives in Silicon Valley. He's on a board of directors and companies of his own, making mad money. But one of the most brilliant economic, financial people on the planet today. And these are people like yourself that have been a part of my life, who made my life very rich to have you in it. And I thank you for
awesome
our relationship.
Yeah. Cool.
So we can go on and on. I think it's a good place to kind of sign on. I like the idea of doing this every Sunday morning. We're making some people that might start tuning in to hear what we have to say.
Sounds good, man. All right, we'll sign off here. And that was awesome. We got all 5 books, right? What are the titles again?
The first one is The First Trillionaire.
First trillionaire.
Number 2 is Dash. Number 3 is The Pure Sun. And number 4 is Find a Prayer. And number five is yet to be announced.
Oh, yet to be announced. That's my favorite book. All right, man.
Hey,
All right.
love you,
So
man.
we'll do this next week right on FaceTime Live.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great day.
All right. You
Mhm.
too.